Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen across our beautiful country of Canada, our friends around the world, in the known and unknown universe. Welcome back to your favorite Angry Canadian on the 5th day of October 2023, asking the biggest question: how will this war in Ukraine end? We know that on one side we got NATO and the US, basically the US is funding it, and on the other side you have Russia. Do you believe for 1 second that Russia will lose? And do you believe that America and NATO can't allow Russia to win? And in this situation, you're not going to have a stalemate, because all the narrative has been so hyped up. Plus, there's another factor. Do you know what NATO and the US fear in losing? They fear losing face. Losing face is not an option, especially for the United States of America, which has taught its citizens that exceptionalism in the US. Well, I do believe a lot of U.S. citizens are exceptional, but their politics and their big corporate heads are the evil mother out there. So they can't allow to lose face to Russia. But wait, what's behind door number 2? China. So if Russia is being taken out economically or militarily, what happens with China? Is the United States willing to go to the South China Sea to go to war with China? And why is there no major topic about ending the war and maintaining peace? That's just not part of the conversation. You know, people go about their business daily. Oh, do. And I'm not the only one that's noticing this. Neil Oliver.
I keep thinking that we will reach a point of peak disbelief or peak madness or incomprehensibility. But every time when I think surely it can't get any crazier, it does. The situation finds there's another turn in the road, and a whole new vista of bonkers opens up before us. And alongside my continuing process of awakening and realisation of the problems, plural, is that there are still so many people of a different perspective, who don't seem to think there's any sort of problem, and that they think that the anxiety of people like me is a symptom of some sort of madness. But those of us on my side, on our side of the divide, I suppose, we ask constantly, why won't the other people see, or even just contemplate the possibility that all is not well? As we become more and more aware and concerned and anxious, the continuing calm of those around us, it's like being in a nightmare, where you're trying to warn people from the other side of soundproof glass that they're in terrible danger, and you can't attract their attention. And I would say that what has to be contemplated is that lies have been built on lies for years.
Middle-class country with reliable institutions. To say that's gone is to say almost nothing.
Canada. Under Justin Trudeau, the former British colony has sought to position itself as the global bastion of progressive politics.
We have become a totalitarian state.
As his cultural revolution shows no sign of abating, I went to Canada to find out how ordinary Canadians are dealing with Trudeau's radical reforms.
The sexualization has become militarized.
From the promotion of gender ideology
What the is that?
Do you want to talk about it?
To the legalization of drugs.
Overdoses are up, violent crime is up. It's a jungle.
Radical new suicide laws.
Do you think that they want you dead?
Yes. I think it's wrong.
And clampdowns on freedom of speech.
I think our leader, Trudeau, I don't think I've ever heard him say a true word. All this nonsense about compassion is the manipulations of snakes pulling in the useful idiots who perhaps are genuinely compassionate, and that's Canada.
That Canada and North America as a whole has a real Nazi problem. Thousands of Nazis were shipped to Canada at the end of the Second World War by Britain. Britain drew up a list called the Rimini List. It was drawn up in Rimini in Italy, then under Allied occupation, which specified which Nazis would go where in the Western world. Of course, the United States took the creme de la creme, the scientists, the rocket engineers, and the people that they knew that they would need. But Canada got a very significant number. 10,000 Nazis were shipped to Canada. And that 10,000 in the generations since has become scores of thousands, to the point that Ukrainians now constitute 5% of Canada's total population. One of the reasons why certain politicians in Canada have been so gung-ho for the war and so slavishly pro-Zelensky, who was equally honored rapturously last week in the Canadian Parliament.
Did anyone outside of maybe a few people know about that? That there were Nazis brought to Canada? You know, we talk about, Trudeau and government values, ethics, morals, rule of law, all the bullshit they push onto citizens to get what they want. They lie out of both sides of their face, like Donald Trump said. Trudeau is two-faced. And I go back to the media, which I deplore. How can those people face themselves, face their children every day, if they got kids, about what they're doing, how they are destroying life on Earth, life in Canada for Canadians. And there's no stopping it until people wake up.
A variable rate mortgage loan with capped payments every month, and that interest rates go up, while the portion of your fixed payment going to interest will also naturally go up. And if you're in a situation where that monthly payment no longer covers all of the interest owed, well, that extra interest gets tacked on to your mortgage balance, and you end up in what's called negative amortization. I spoke about this with a homeowner in Joliet, Quebec, who worries that another rate hike might push him there. Just as an example, last month he paid out only $23 in principal and more than $1,100 in interest. His mortgage repayment period, the amortization period, nearly doubled from 25 to 47 years. TD, CIBC, and BMO have all reported this phenomenon of negative amortization in their third quarter financial reports. And just to size the issue, we're talking about more than $128 billion in house loans that are now negatively amortizing. So the three banks tell CBC News that clients can refinance their mortgage, that they can pay out a lump sum or increase their monthly payments, but many Canadians just can't afford it.
Collectively, the government and the banks and many big other corporations, healthcare, they're all crooked. They're worse than the friggin' mafia. And people just, you go on the street or you go to a store and ask people what they think about negative amortization. Well, shit, before this, I never even heard of it. But now, it's got me pissed off. Oh, surprise, another thing that gets the dude pissed off. Negative. I mean, 40 friggin' 7 years, and you see the principle behind this? They're gonna make rental accommodations so that you're not gonna have a big difference between renting or buying. Buying means you have to save and a down payment and all that. But if you're renting, oh, you might, well, you're not going to have any extra money either. They're going to work that out. People have to rise up. Voting is not the friggin' answer. And no, I'm not advocating for anything violent. I am advocating, supporting more civil protests. You know, these people can't run around doing this to ordinary working people. The divorce rate, the drug, the alcoholism, everything is going to spike because, fuck, you got no, oh, sorry, F-bomb, F-bomb, oh, here it comes crashing down. No. Well, yes, sir. Jolly well. You're going to be happy if you got nothing. And by the way, think about this negative amortization is that young people that go into rent and rent their lives, even if they have kids, which is now doubtful, they won't be able to afford it, or they won't be able to do it because of health issues and stuff, infertility. But if they have kids, what are they going to leave to the kids? Debt? That's pretty well what the plan is. So here's something to ponder final.